Aha. Did you have to click?
Yes,
Yes.
we
Okay.
that up.
All right.
Got it.
This informed consent.
Yeah.
You'll end up on the website so that other students that couldn't make it tonight can join us. Well, Rob,
Actually,
it's a little
all
after
I had-
7.
All I had to click was it just said it's being recorded, and I just said, got it. It wasn't,
Got it.
is
Yeah,
that what
okay.
you're looking for? Okay, great.
Exactly. That was it. Yeah. Just to make sure that everybody knows. It's all good.
Well, I
All
think,
right.
should we get started? And then if others
Yes.
just come on, we'll just welcome them as they come on. So what a joy, everyone, to see you and to have this opportunity to be together this evening to do a bit of review of our next academic year, 2021 to 2022. We are so looking forward to our courses and our modules and our faculty who are all prepared and are preparing to welcome you as well into the individual courses and modules. And it's been a joy putting all of this together. We're here this evening just to gather, to share a bit about what's been happening at the school and some probably important information that will be helpful to you as students, as well as some encouragements as we look ahead. I'm going to turn our time over to Michael as our Associate Dean, because his work is always interrelating to the students, and we are so delighted that many of you have taken us up on needing and tracking the best next courses for your formation. So Michael, with that, will you lead us in some prayer and get us started, please?
Absolutely. And I did mean to ask you when we went to the recording that if you wouldn't mind muting yourself unless you have a particular question you'd like to jump in. We welcome any questions, but we also want to keep everybody, keep the background noises down to as much as possible. So I'm going to start with a reading from a book that we don't visit very often from the Bible. I guess some people would claim it is part of the Bible and some people would claim it isn't, but a reading from the Wisdom of Sirach, and this is taken from the prologue. Numerous and wonderful things have been given to us through the law, the prophets, and the other writings that followed them. For this reason, it is necessary to praise Israel for education and wisdom. It is also necessary not only for those who read them to gain understanding, but also those who love learning to be of service to strangers when they speak and write. The goal was that lovers of learning who were committed to education and wisdom should gain much more by living according to the law. You are invited, therefore, to read with goodwill and attention, and to be forgiving in cases where we seem less than perfect in translating some expressions, despite working hard on the translation. Hear what the Spirit is saying to God's people. Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.
It seems pretty appropriate to our work together, and we ask for your goodwill and for your attention, and particularly to be forgiving in this time of transition as we begin another school year. And with that, let us pray. The Lord be with you, and also with you. God of the present moment, God who in Jesus stills the storm and soothes the frantic heart, bring hope and courage to your people as we wait in uncertainty at the beginning of this new school year. bring hope that you will make us equal of whatever lies ahead. Bring us courage to endure what cannot be avoided. For your will is wholeness. You are God, and we need you. Amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you for listening to that and for praying with me. And of course, it seems a bit redundant, but I'd like to introduce our dean at what may be perhaps her last meeting of the students of the school. Robin has been such a force, a formidable force in making this school what it is. And we just can't thank her enough. We can't appreciate her work enough. She's meant so much to generations of students who have gone through the school. And even though she will be leaving us and leaving the school, her legacy will last in this diocese and throughout the church at large for many, 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 many years to come. So I don't know if you wave your hands and kind of like applaud, but that's my Zoom applause. So for Robin, there she is. Thank you for everything that you've done. And our other staff member that's on the faculty member that's on this evening is David Zwifka. David, Robin had a moment to say something. Would you like to extend a greeting tonight?
Sure. Excuse me. I'm here ostensibly because I'm currently functioning not only as a faculty member, but also as the Director of Spiritual Formation. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. So I'm very grateful that all of you are here, and I'm happy for the chance to actually speak with all of you about it, particularly those that may be new to the school. So it's going to be, I think, an exciting year. We're finally getting some things together, and there's some integration going on. I'm hoping that you will be able, especially to take advantage of the integrative seminars, which will be offered through the year, as well as the webinars that follow. They are all, we are trying to focus them on various aspects of our formation, and that during the year also, I hope to meet with as many of the students as possible. First term might be a little bit difficult because I'm teaching 2 courses. So I'm also the full-time rector of a parish on diocesan council, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it might be a little tough during the early part, but I would like to speak with everybody along the way. We'll talk more about the programming a little later, but I'm just want to say welcome and thank you for being here this evening.
Thanks, David. Now, I would normally, if we were a smaller group, have everyone introduce themselves, but it would be a little bit unwieldy with this number, and we're so glad that we have 29 participants in the meeting tonight. So we're going to do something a little bit crazy because, you know, that's Michael. What can I say? So if you have a camera and if you don't mind turning it on for just a few moments, and if you would go up into the upper right-hand corner of your screen and make sure that you are on the Brady Bunch view, which is called the gallery view in Zoom, so you can see everyone. If you'd make those couple of adjustments, I'm going to use the applause meter again and ask you to applaud. I'm going to give you 2 options, 2 alternatives. So the first one's going to be easy. I want to ask for the people that are located in Pennsylvania to wave for a moment. And then I'm going to ask for the people who are outside of Pennsylvania to wave for a moment. So let's start this off. Those that are in Pennsylvania right now. And how about those who are outside of Pennsylvania? Okay, we have Scott, who's from Maryland. We've got Fred, who's from the Virgin Islands. Who else did I miss? Reese's from the Virgin Islands. Who else have we got that it's outside of Pennsylvania? Lynn, where are you from?
Upstate New York, Central New York
She's
Diocese.
up. There you go. Central New York Diocese. Thank you. And Jason?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. And did I miss anybody else? It's from outside of the state. Oh, yep, Trayvon, there he is. Yeah, another Virgin Islander. And we're so glad that you're here. And Kathy notes that she is in Colorado, but that doesn't count because she really does live in Pennsylvania. So, all right, got this. It's gonna go quicker now. If you are near the beginning of your journey with the school, or if you're near the ending of your journey with the school. So let's see those beginners, the folks who are beginning their work with the school. Come on, be proud. Be proud. We need you. We need you. That's right. And the people that are near the end of their adventure with the school, look at that. That's pretty good. Not bad at all. How about this one? I have attended an ordination, or I've never been to one. How many people have attended an ordination? Ooh, we're getting about 100% there. Yeah, almost 100%. I've never been to one. It's okay, you can admit it. There you go, thank you, thank you. This Saturday, Allison Carnahan, who has spent a long time with us here at the school, is going to be ordained as a priest in Harrisburg in the Diocese of Central Pennsylvania, and we're so excited about her ordination. Let's try this. I remember the Philadelphia 11. Michael, who the heck are you talking about? Okay, I remember the Philadelphia 11. Oh, Michael, who the heck are you talking about? Well, the Philadelphia 11 in 1974 were 11 women who were the first who were ordained, and it was called an irregular ordination to the church and to the Episcopal Church. And it's the thing that brought me into the Episcopal Church, because I was a silly sophomore at Penn. And I was totally impressed by the fact that here was this church who was dealing with a really crucial issue in a way that my own church, my church of origin, never dealt with it before. And so it was a pretty exciting thing. So to me, in 1974, the Philadelphia 11 meant a lot. And we even had one of the churches in West Philadelphia gave sanctuary to one of the women who was irregularly ordained. How about this one? Pets are free to visit the sanctuary on St. Francis Day for a blessing. Pets have to stay out of the sanctuary on St. Francis Day. Let's see, pets in the sanctuary. Oh, we got some pets in the sanctuary there for the blessing. Thank you. And pets have to stay outside. We don't want those droppings in our beautiful surroundings, do we? Yikes. All right, and last one. Incense or no incense? Incense? Yeah, no incense. We're looking, okay. Well, we certainly couldn't introduce each other in all the time, but hopefully you got to know a little bit of what the mindset was and who's sitting around our table tonight, our virtual table. So thank you for playing along with that. Robin's now going to spend a little time talking about the overview of the mission of what Stevenson School is all about. And in the process of that, I'm going to share the screen, if that's okay, Robin, so that the agenda is clear.
And Michael, what we missed 3 in terms of update on the search for the new dean. And I wondered, David Zwifka, do you have any information, since you're on the search committee? Because that question might be a part of the wondering. We do have a web page that's up. The reason I'd like to draw it to your attention is if you know people who might be interested in applying, please encourage them to do so. David, did you want to say just a little bit about it before I go into the, oh, it's missed on this one. Sorry,
Sure.
Michael. I have it on my old agenda.
Okay.
It was moved, you moved it to the end of the agenda, Robin.
That's right. That's right. I forgot.
It's okay. It's all right. We'll talk about it now. It's the big elephant in the room.
Yes,
So.
yeah.
Well, it's no elephant in the room at the moment. Right now, we're in the process of publicizing the availability of the position. The work of the committee, it's about really all I can say. The work of the committee thus far has been to assess what we believe the dean ought to be and do in the future, to create a job description and to create a process by which people could apply and enter into the discernment process for the selection of the new dean. That's about it. That's where we are right now. And all the other information that is available would be on the website. So I'll just point you to that. I would heartily encourage you, if you have been involved, as Robin already mentioned, with other people who've been in seminary teaching or teaching in ministry school, as like the Stevenson School and so on, to consider this position. I think after Robin's feat of putting this whole thing together over these many years, and the support of the diocese and the many students that have passed through, I think it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for someone to pick up that mantle. Much like Elijah passing it to Elisha, it'll be awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm just a little too old to apply, but otherwise I would be applying. The old thing is because I plan to retire in a couple of years. So that's why I can't.
David, there's a question being asked about who is members of the search committee. Could you give us just a couple of names, and maybe, I know you won't get them all, but that's all right.
As I understand, well, first of all, it's Bishop Audrey, myself, Kyle Murphy from Williamsport.
Is David Lovelace?
Yes, David Lovelace and Carolyn Patterson from the diocesan office.
And wasn't Dan Morrow and
well, he was, yeah.
and
but
then yeah, and he's leaving now too. And then Mary Ellen
Siebert, yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, Robin, on to the
here we go.
business.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
So we thought it would be important just to collectively recall the mission overview of the Stevenson School for Ministry. We are welcoming you into this, and our goal is, of course, formation that prepares leaders for the church, both lay and ordained, to be able to serve now and in the future. And I love that tension between the now and in the future, particularly as we're moving into what might be somewhat a post-pandemic, because the equipping that we hope that we will accomplish through your learning goals and your own call and journey, we want you to have excellence in terms of ability to serve what the church needs now. So in that context, we have vocational, and our vocational students are those, of course, who are going for ordered ministry or feel called for ordered ministry, deacon, priest, particularly bivocational priest, but you are equipped to become a priest and be sent to wherever God is calling you to be. But also we have lay vocational certificate programs for everything from lay worship leader, lay preacher, all of the canonical areas, except the deacons of this diocese are the ones to train lay Eucharistic visitors and lay Eucharistic ministers. So lay catechist, lay preacher, you think of those canonical areas, and we have certificates for that. In addition to that, the initiative, one of the great initiatives of this Diocese of Central Pennsylvania is called Shaped by Faith. So that those of you who are not a part of this diocese, some might look at a module that says something in relationship to Shaped by Faith. This is now going into a 2-year process where congregations are literally discerning in prayer and in practice how God is calling them to be, given the fact that about 83% of our congregations have quarter time or half time clergy or no time. And so we're looking at the way that the modules that we offer prepare for ministry, lay and ordained, and the next iteration of what the church will look like and be like. We house these courses, which are actually modules, we call them modules, learning modules, in something called the Collaborative Mission Center. That is a dream that we have had with the Lower Susquehanna Synod, ELCA, because we have Lutheran participation as well in the Stevenson School for Ministry, as well as in its development itself. And in that context, then, we have our learning management system, which is now called Learn Dash. And there is a parallel system with the Lower Susquehanna Synod in which you will see modules exchange so that you could take modules and they will equip you in terms of our different certificate programs from the Lower Susquehanna Synod or from the Stevenson School for Ministry. We are trying to encourage sharing, a collaborative sharing of work that can be done formationally with the gifts that are given in each entity. It's just a joy to work with them. In that context, we have designed a year trajectory, 2021 to 2022, of what we would call small group formation. We have some excellent mentors and faculty who are preparing not only for the development and formation of house church, but also small group formation within the life of your congregation. You all know a vestry is a small group, right? Stewardship, you might have a committee. You might have a committee in pastoral care. Well, we actually have these short modules, sometimes 4 weeks, sometimes 5 weeks, ones that are going now are 1 week, that you can encourage members of your congregation to participate in, to learn how to design and work in transformative small groups. I'm really, really encouraged to announce our racial justice certificate in social justice. We have spent the past year forming the sequencing of these courses and modules, and we are delighted that we will have offered this year Becoming Beloved Community 1 and 2 beginning this fall, as well as Gail Fisher-Stewart will be kicking us off How Big Is Your Cross, as kind of an intro to the social justice, racial justice certificate. So if you have members of your parish or you are interested in the racial justice work, again, we will have evangelism work also woven throughout our learning modules. And then I'm going to turn spiritual life over to David Zwifka to explain a bit about the spiritual life opportunities that are ahead for us. David, would you please do that?
Sure. One of the things that we want to make very clear, I think, is that what we're trying to do with the spiritual life program it's just not another program, but rather it's a, to use the academic term, it's a matrix in which we find ourselves. But it's a matrix that's really designed to help us integrate what we're learning into our daily ministry. The idea behind it being that all of us enjoy a life in the Spirit, and that we are constantly in discernment from the moment we think we want to take a course in the Stevenson School until you're as old as I am. And I keep saying that because I'm reaching sort of a milestone this year. Will be 40 years a priest in October. So been around the block a few times, and also have seen that throughout that time, there have been key moments of discernment for me, whether it is something as practical as taking on a new call someplace, or it's on a daily basis of how to move forward in an area of ministry within parish work. So this idea that we need to go through something like the Stevenson School or even seminary and check off all the different boxes and make sure that we've got them all checked off so that we can get ordained is really not helpful or productive, but rather that we're going to take all of those checkoff boxes and begin to see how they relate to one another, and in particular, how they support the spiritual life of ministers. And that's not only for priests and not only for deacons, but rather ministry in the church across the board. So one of the things I've already mentioned the integrative seminars, which is sort of a more mindful approach to how to actually go through this. We'll also eventually be talking about some elements of theological reflection and how to think theologically. Too many times, I think people, they get through their theology course, see that they got a good mark and close the book and never think about another theological term again. I'm not saying that everybody does that, but it does happen. Particularly when we start talking about the spiritual life and spiritual discernment, because all the word theology means is God talk. And that's what people are looking to us for. That's really our role in the community, is to communicate the life of God to people and to create a community around that word. So that one of the things we want to do is give you the tools that you need in order to continue that constant reflection. It should be a daily task, really. I mean, that is one of the things that most of us learn over time, that if we fail to do that, we can lose our moorings, lose our bearings, and forget exactly why it is we got into all of this. On a practical level, what we'll be doing is helping people to see the role of spiritual direction, for example, what that really is and is not. We will be eventually offering with Alice in St. Louis the opportunity for group spiritual direction. If you've ever been in therapy, as I continually am, actually for my self-care, there's individual counseling and then there's group counseling, and the two things have very different dynamics. Some benefit more from one than the other. They're not exclusive, and we do not expect everybody to be involved in both, but we do expect everybody to have a personal spiritual director. That is not something the school governs. What we need to know is that you have one. That's something that is left at the discretion of the commissions on ministry and the diocesan bishop, depending on what policies they want to follow. But one of the things we are encouraging our diocesan bodies to think about is to create a body of approved spiritual directors. Everybody is not equipped to be a spiritual director, even though they may be a mentor, a spiritual friend, a companion, but a spiritual director is a specific kind of ministry. And so we want to make sure that you are plugged into the appropriate parties when that occurs. Once we get beyond the COVID time, what we hope to do is to have an in-person annual retreat of a couple of days, ideally 3 days, where we come together as a student body and as many faculty members as can be there, and we will actually be on retreat. And by a retreat, I don't mean a planning session. That word has been co-opted by the business community lots of times. So that you go on retreat and basically it's an extended business meeting and a party. That's not what we're talking about here, but rather that we will give that opportunity to people along the way. We will also be encouraging you to develop patterns of personal prayer, specifically for those who will be leading prayer, namely ordained clergy and any worship leaders in the group and so on. With the divine office, and to learn how to develop that as not just simply something we go through and again check off the box. I did that this morning, but rather that we actually use it again as a matrix for really integrating our prayer life and our theological understandings. Another element that we will really be hoping that you will become more and more familiar with. The Episcopal Church, this is something that's, oh, that's way too Catholic for me. But that's something I think which is critical. And actually our next integrative seminar is going to be on this very topic. And that is the practice of individual reconciliation. And what is it that we do? Most people call it going to confession, but it's much more than that. And we're hoping that it is in the dynamics involved in that particular rite within the church that we will have the opportunity to grow even more profoundly into the spiritual life. One of the ideas that I keep saying about it is, as we will hear even in the webinar the following day, we are called to be agents of reconciliation within the church and within society. And unless we ourselves are reconciled to ourselves and to God, it's hard to be an agent of that same dynamic. So that's really the context in which we will be looking at that. And lastly, the thing I want to mention is that we will be looking at formation in obedient discipleship. When we are ordained, in particular those who will be ordained, you will actually take a promise of obedience to your bishop. What does that mean? Obedience is not just an occasion when someone tells you to do something you don't want to do. That's when it's clear, but obedience is obedience to Christ. It's obedience to the gospel. It's obedience to the will of God. And that is a daily formational task for all of us and will continue throughout our life. So those are the basic elements of the spiritual life program. As I mentioned, I'm sort of the de facto spiritual formation director. We don't have a formal position as such quite yet, but we're working on it. And we are retooling what we wanted to call a spiritual life team or a spiritual life committee, which involves both faculty and students. And we try to get students from every discernment track in terms of priest, deacon, lay ministry, and so on. We kind of had some stumbling efforts at the beginning of the program. COVID kind of got in the way of that a little bit, as well as we didn't have enough of a program yet to really kind of sink our teeth into. So that's kind of what we're going to be rebuilding that in time. So if anybody is at all interested in that, if you would contact me or tell Robin or Michael, and I'll be in touch with you about how we want to do that, because we have grown so much in the Stevenson School. We're not only the Diocese of Central PA anymore. We have people from the Diocese of Bethlehem. We have the new folks that were introduced to us today, one from Washington, another, from Maryland. And of course we have the Virgin Islands, Pittsburgh is, so we're all over the place. And so we kind of need to sort of recalibrate how we're going to put that committee together. So in a nutshell, that's the program. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And Robin, I think I'll leave it at that for now. But like I said, if anybody has any questions, please let me know.
So,
Section 4.
oh,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead, Robin.
No, go ahead, Michael.
Please. I was just going to say section 4 on our agenda is very much in line with what David was talking about. Fact is, we've had some immense growth in the Stevenson School over the time of the pandemic. I guess if we were predicting, if we went back in time and could look at the situations and look at it with a clear head, we might see that would be the case. But there's something that is broken open here that I think is really important. It's not just a small diocesan school anymore. It's growing into a real force in our church. And what that leads us to are these opportunities that we're going to discuss very briefly. The idea of the context pre-pandemic, those old students like me in the school, each course started with an in-person learning weekend. We typically did them in Danville, Pennsylvania, on a weekend, followed by 10 weeks of learning, and then closed off by a learning weekend. Those, of course, rapidly became, just untenable with the pandemic. So instead, as David was talking about, we instituted this integrative seminar on a Friday for the folks that are in discernment, headed towards a certificate. And then we created these webinars that are open to everyone in the diocese, everyone in the church, that happen on Saturdays. So just as a bit of context, saying that we have now changed the instructional design of our courses because of that. So we have switched almost entirely, let's face it, to online learning. And as much as I would like to take a trip down to the Virgin Islands to spend some time in communion face-to-face with our students there, that's not going to happen. So that we have to be prepared for how do we take the best of both worlds, the in real life face-to-face work and the online work that has brought us so many riches from around the church. So that's what it means when it says hybrid learning model, that even when we go back to the idea of perhaps learning weekends where a number of us can get together, that's not going to ever exclude all the people that are involved in the Stevenson School. So that's sort of our promise to you. Robin, you wanted to talk a little bit about learning in parishes, how that's changed as a result of breaking open the school with the pandemic.
Yes, so we're learning a lot as we continue to adapt and become flexible enough to meet the needs of congregational life as well as the vocational needs that we have. And so learning for your parish, one of the really awesome things that is available to every congregation is that if you would like to, there's several options. Form a small group and take one of the modules. The modules are meant, the 5-week modules or the less than 5-week modules are a great way to onboard in your congregation, depending on your formational needs. In our diocese, where there aren't a lot of full-time clergy, it's an opportunity to use the Stevenson School in unique ways. And the unique way is form a group, because you could probably do both face-to-face then in your congregation, and then as well as do the online work being facilitated by a faculty. All of our faculty are also mentors and will work with you and help facilitate. If you would like to take the content to your parish, we will help equip you to do that. The other way, and this is really exciting, Michael has been just amazing to work with as an associate dean, because we are now developing asynchronistic learning opportunities with some that of the information that is recorded, and yet some of our faculty will continue to be mentors. And so we're putting together things that we had never put together before, based on the needs of your congregation. The communication, oh, Michael, did you want to say something? I'm sorry.
No, sorry, that was the dog.
Oh, that was, oh, okay. So I'll just keep going. So anyway, it can be really helpful to your parish. And if you want more information on how to do that, just check in with Michael and I, and we'll be glad to introduce you to the faculty. So there's opportunities for everyone. One of the things that I really wanted to break down is that we all come to learning. We love, well, some of us really love learning. And when we really love learning, it kind of can be looked upon as for ourselves, but in essence, it's for everyone. So the idea is, as disciples, we take it and we take it back to our parish, and we take it to everyone we meet. I wanted to just mention, and it's already been mentioned, that we have students, from all variety of locations now. It's just such a blessing because it's a gift to us. So we look at each student as a gift, the gifts that they bring, the learning they desire, but also their own spiritual charisms, if you will, that bring life to this school. And that includes, we have a variety of people who are studying from different denominations, and they might be doing an Anglican Studies formation at Lancaster Theological Seminary, where we have become the Anglican Studies program. I'm going to use this second to also tell you what's on the horizon. I am meeting on Friday with the Dean of now Moravian Seminary and Lancaster Theological Seminary. Vanessa is now the Associate Dean of Lancaster Seminary, because the hope is that there's a merger going on between Moravian Seminary and Lancaster Seminary that's absolutely amazing, through Moravian University now, as it's new named. And in the context of all these changes, that means our Anglican Studies program will have even a broader and wider, and sorry, David, you're going to get many more students in the next year because of this, but it is such a dream to come true. Personally, for me, my Master in Divinity was from Moravian Theological Seminary. I could not be happier about this, because there's one Moravian seminary in the whole world, and they have Moravian congregations all over the world. And so it's just another opportunity to say we are so gifted by those who participate in this school. Now, Michael, do you want to go to the communication part?
Absolutely. So David and Robin and I have hit you with a lot of information. How in the world do you keep track of all of this? Well, one of our dreams was that we would have a website that was a positive website for everyone to be able to use. And forgive me for just a second. I have to make a shift in terms of the. There we go. Let me try again. Zoom is wonderful when it works, right? Here we go. So I hope that you visited our new website. It is a work in progress. There's no question about that. You know, and what you have to do is live with it a little bit, play around with it a little bit, and try to find all of the information that is offered. I'm not going to take you through the whole thing, but I would like to call your attention to the fact that the first page, the main page, lists all of the courses, the 10-week courses that are available, the 5-week courses or 4-week courses that are available. For example, prayer practices for parish life is starting tonight. It's actually going on. It's one of our modules, learning modules that started this evening. There's also ministry of the deacon, ministry of the priest, lay ministry, and Anglican studies. There's information about each of those programs leading to a certificate from the school. You'll find that events of the school are featured down towards the bottom. And then there's a pretty effective calendar for all. But the one thing that I do want to call your attention to is the useful resources that are at the bottom of the front page. Deirdre Good, who's one of our faculty members, puts together a podcast every week about the lectionary readings for that week with two other distinguished faculty people. And they sit and they talk about the lectionary, and they've helped me write sermons, so that if you're interested in what's coming up next, click on the lectionary podcasts and listen to Deirdre in action. And of course, the fact that we do have a Facebook page, we do have Instagram a page, and we are out there on YouTube as well. You can access from the bottom. And if you have a little spare cash floating around, it's always at the bottom of the page. Donate today, because we are always looking for help with our various programs. So this main page basically lists the courses and the main events. But then if you look over here to this side, the menu, it will take you through more information, as Robin was talking about, the learning in the parish, continuing ed for clergy, and resources that are there for all. When you go to register for a course, whoops, I didn't mean to do that, did I? In the past, you went through Populi or Populi, depending on how you call it. But now we're asking you to you can still register through Populi, that's not a problem, but you can also register through the Stevenson School for Ministry.org. And those same courses that are on Populi are over on the Stevenson School main website, so that it's there. I think that talks a little bit about the website versus, versus what's there. Whenever you are looking for your courses that you're already registered for, you would click on My Courses to get to a course. If you are interested in registering for a course, you would go to that course and click on Register that way. It's something to get used to. I admit it, it's a different scheme than we were using before, but hopefully it will be helpful long term. How else do we contact you? How else do we make impact with you? We are always available for emails and for phone calls. We're always available to you. And Robin right now is reaching out to folks to see that the registration for the fall term goes smoothly. We're always available for that. So Robin, what kind of expectations do people have, or can people have, for our staff?
Thanks, Michael. The expectations are we are available to you, and we are here to serve you and your formational needs. We will guide you, and Michael and I work together a lot in that capacity. As Associate Dean, you would probably contact Michael if you have questions about, for example, a withdrawal from a course, or if you are interested in taking another course, but it's already, we're started in the first week. And so all those kind of intricate and important questions that you might have would be with Michael at this point in time. Chris Keeney is not here this evening. Didn't see Chris. Is he here? Michael, did you see Chris?
No, I didn't see Chris.
So we are blessed with the fact that not only do we have Michael, but Chris, for those of you that knew Ashley was our tech support person. Well, now Chris is our tech support person. Ashley was blessed to have a full-time position. And so now Chris, who is from St. James, Lancaster, has been willing to pick up that baton, so to speak. And between he and Michael work their magic. Don't ask me for tech support. That would not be a good thing to ask me to do. And so, but the both of them, between the work and the interfacing of the new web page, the new Learn Dash management system, as well as Populi, they have worked miracles. And I do say thank you to Alexis, our canon for communication, and Faith Niece, who also help us with communication. So every time that you receive an SSFM e-news note, it is put out through the communications office of the diocese. With that, I would also say that my role is a lot administratively, and falls with the work of an advisory board, of which David Lovelace is not with us this evening, but we have a wonderful team that we work with. I saw Jane Gable was here tonight. She's on part of our advisory board team. And so know that that we are here in a variety of ways to support your needs. All of our faculty have office hours, virtual office hours, of course, and that we developed, I guess a year ago, or maybe a year and a half ago, a consistent syllabus format so that all your syllabi should look similar, and that the office hours should be located on the dashboard of your course. And if you cannot find it, please let us know. And if you have Zoom problems, or Michael, who do they go now to? They used to go to Ashley. Do they go to Chris if there's Zoom concerns and all that good stuff?
Sure, they can go to Chris or to me, either one. It's all good.
Okay. And That is, so there's lots of questions coming in, and I don't know, Michael, do we want to take those questions? No, because they kind of pertain to everyone, like learn dash populi, where should I register? How should I register?
Sure.
Do you want to say a little more about it?
Yeah, the kind of confusing thing is during this transition, you can go in and register for courses on Populi itself. But the easiest way is to just go to the website and use the little boxes, the course boxes that I showed you, and do the registration there. So Wanda asked a little unsure, and I understand that's confusing to have two means of access, but during the transition, that seems to be the best way. Question about logged in. Linda says she logged into the modules okay. When tried to log into the 10-week course, I could not. My old login doesn't work. Aha, my code was requested. So Linda, all you need to do is email me and I'll reset your password and you'll be able to get into Populi without any problem. That shouldn't have happened, but who knows what goes on. Hollis was asking about the time or the week, day of the week and the time for Deirdre's podcast. I'll tell you the truth that it varies. We got the one for Saturday, or for this Sunday, sorry, on last Saturday. So it varies from week to week, but usually about Tuesday or Wednesday, if you click on her face down on the resources, you'll come up with the lectionary podcast for this particular week. So thanks for those good questions. I do want to take you very quickly to two things that I think really kind of are emblematic of the kind of support that we're trying to provide for students, and unfortunately have to dig a little bit for both of these things. So I want to take you to the Student Handbook, which explains a lot of this stuff again in more written form, in text form, and then the Student Covenant, which you may or may not know about, that's listed on the website. So let's go first of all to the Student Handbook. Most of the time when people log on to Populi, they're just going for a course and they might hit my courses. I'm not taking any or teaching any. I took some in the past, but often they ignore this line that's up here in the black. If you look under there, and you'll find files and you'll find student policies and procedures. So I'm in the black bar for files, student policy and procedures. And here you'll find an extensive PDF that answers just about any question that you might have about the Stevenson School and about how it's organized. Now, this is up to date as of last year. It doesn't take into account some of the changes on the webpage, but by and large, you have everything here that you could possibly want to know, sort of like the old course catalogs that we used to get. So again, our effort is to try to provide as much information as possible. If you get lost in trying to find any of that, please reach out to Chris or to me for tech support. The other thing I'd like to show you is under our menu, and this is called the Student Learning Covenant. And it's, what is our learning covenant with you? And you'll see that the covenant itself between the school and the students deals with topics like diversity, academic integrity, attendance, technology, and learning covenant presence. Now, these are just the highlights, the bullet points. Down here is a link to the entire learning covenant that you can take a look at. We're hoping to have it in a really easy printable form that you can read it, you can initial it digitally, and it'll come back to us. We're not quite there yet, but the entire text of the covenant is down here at this bottom link. Okay. So let me pick up any questions that we might have missed. Is it too late to register for the parish prayer program? Absolutely not. You'll miss tonight's episode, but it will be on tape for you. Our course is taken one at a time, able to fill the requirements for diploma and certificate. I'm not good on that question. I'm sorry. Tom, if you could like clarify that just a little bit, or if Robin or David could jump in. Is grading A to F or is pass fail an option? Our two options are taking courses for credit or for audit. Audit means that you are welcome to use the resources of the course, but you're not required to submit any of the work to the professor, and the professor is not in turn required to grade any of that work. But we don't have a pass-fail option at the present time. Our court, I'm still a little quirky on that question, Tom, so I'm not going to be able to help you with that. If you rephrase, I'll try to give it a shot. And Barbara says she can't attend the webinar. Is that a problem? Can I still register for it and receive the recording? Absolutely, Barbara. It's going to be available to you. What we have been up and down about a couple of times, to be honest, is the integrative seminars, because we're seeking to build community there. But in terms of the webinar, yes, that's available to everybody, and that will be on the website for your use. Okay, I think I've got those questions taken care of, and Robin, I think I've taken care of that section of the agenda. If you'd like to talk about some dates maybe that are critical.
We can go through the critical dates. I didn't quite get what the question was, but also we do not grade any of the modules. They're all pass fail, and in case there isn't. So that's one of the reasons onboarding is so easily acceptable with a module.
Hollis asks, while we're talking about audited courses, does that fulfill the requirements for a certificate? And that is not the case.
Right.
Audited courses would be for your own benefit, for your own personal improvement, but we can't count that to fulfill the requirements. We need a course with credit. Thank you.
Great questions.
Robin?
Thank you. Yes. Critical dates. So we do allow drop and add. So say you take 2 courses, but something comes up in your life and you can only handle one and you want to drop one, or you're looking at the courses and you find out, well, I can do these 2 courses, and you know what? I think I want to take another course because I'm all excited, or I want to take a 5-week something. We allow the drop and add until September 6th. And then that's for fall term.
So that's 2 weeks after the course starts is what it amounts to, right?
Right. And then you all have had an invitation for the Integrative Seminar. For those who are in certificate programs, that's August 27th, 1 to 3. And then everyone is invited. That would be really cool to see how many people we could get on Zoom to the graduation celebration for this year's. It was so hard during COVID because normally what we did is we gathered up at the St. Cyril Center, and we had a special Eucharist and preacher and all that kind of cool stuff. So this time we're going to do it virtually, and it's so exciting. And we'd love to have all the faculty and everyone, students, to be part of this. I also want to put in a plug then for August 28th. The other thing we are going to attempt is to have a learning day on October 30th with Gail Fisher-Stewart. Hopefully will be with us. If any of you took a course from Gail, she's now doing a 5-week course to start off this fall. She is a dynamic, amazing teacher as well. Michael, did you want to do something about LearnDash? A little bit about LearnDash?
Just very briefly, you want to mention the webinar as well. Sorry, the next day, August 28th.
Yes, August 28th. You're all invited.
Yeah. So I don't know where those dates are. I missed them. You went by too fast. I'm going to go back to the website, and I'm going to try to. It's just not jumping very fast tonight. I apologize. Here we go. I'm going to go back to the website and I'm going to go down to the calendar or to the events that are listed here, featured events. So the recognition of our graduates, there's some more information on that. The Integrative Seminar, there's information there, and the webinar on the 28th on social justice. So
That's not the screen we're seeing right now.
I'm so sorry. Let's see what we can do.
And we're seeing the agenda.
My problem. I knew better.
While
but I
Michael's
didn't.
fixing that, I just want to make a point, because sometimes this gets kind of messed up between the webinar and the integrative seminar. The integrative seminar is required for all students who are in discernment for ministry, particularly priest and deacon. So it's not something you can, well, that looks interesting, I'll do that. But rather, because they're crucial and critical topics for our formation, that all of them, now this is the seminar on the Friday. That's what's required. The webinar is a learning opportunity for everybody, but the seminar is required.
Well, and David, thank you for that clarification. It also includes lay certificate programs as well. And I also want to share that the next day webinar for this time, it's the August 28th. That is also required for all the vocational students, lay and ordained. It's just like the learning weekends. And then, yeah, you all come. Everybody can participate in that.
That's right. We probably won't throw you out if you show up. So we appreciate the fact that you're, you never can tell, right? So the only thing I wanted to show in terms of LearnDash is that the idea that the way that the website works and the classes work, we tried to come up with a format where it was easy for you to register for something. So if you are logged into the website and you want to take leadership qualities, you'll click on the register button. You're seeing my screen now, I'm hoping.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. You'll see a further description of the course. You'll see what courses of study it pertains to. You'll see a description of the course. You can even share the course on your own Facebook or Twitter page or Instagram page if you like. But the idea will be that you'd click the register button here and that you would grab a ticket is really what it amounts to. So you're clicking next in order to register for the course. And all that does is ask us for just some basic information about you so that we can make sure that you're taking the correct course, and then we register you for that course on Populi. So really, that's as simple or as hard as it is to figure out. When you're ready to explore the course, the easiest link to use is this one that says My Courses, and it'll show you which courses you are registered for. And oh, I'm registered for all kinds of courses. Hopefully yours won't look as messed up as mine. But if you go into Becoming the Beloved Community, for example, you'll see all of the classes here and all of the materials for each of those classes. I just pick one at random to expand. So the course materials are laid out for you, and they're accessible through our website in a way that it was not possible to do with Populi in the past. Now, you're still meeting as a class on Zoom, and you'll find that Zoom link listed on each of the courses. For example, here's PowerPoint and Zoom recordings, and up here at the top is the Zoom information for this particular course so that you can get into the meetings on the meeting nights. But the materials for the class are found basically right on our website. I'll take the last couple of questions and then we'll wrap things up here a little bit. I think, Kathy, you got your answer from Robin. Integrative Seminars on Friday afternoon. Any chance it could be moved to the evening? Interested in the response to Jennifer's question. Okay, sorry. Let's go back to Jennifer's question. If I took Beloved Community 1 this time as a module, will I still receive course credit? Absolutely correct. It was given on LearnDash this summer as an experiment for how that course would work on LearnDash, and it is going to be on your transcript so that you're ready for becoming Beloved Community 2. Let's see if there's anything else. I discovered with 2 courses I took recently, I learned that taking 2 courses at a time stretched me. Figured that taking 1 course is the best option. Are all required courses possible to take within 1 year to complete the program? We don't have any programs that are completed within 1 year, but within one cycle of maybe a 2 or 3 year process. I think that would be for the priest and the deacon certificate. For the lay ministry certificates, Robin, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, the lay ministry certificates are a year, and
Okay.
most of them are in a year. The new racial justice certificate could be done in a year. We're making that possible now, but it could be a year and a half. And again, it's at your own pace. The assumption for the deacons work is 2 courses per term. And the assumption then for the priest work is, and that's 2 years. And then assumption for the priest work is 2 courses per term for 4 years. So that's an approximate, depending on your own pace and your own call.
Kathy has a question about cohorts, and Robin, I'm going to turn to you about that as well.
So what we're trying to do, there's several different kind of cohorts. And what Michael and I do is we call it a student audit. So we're seeing all the people who are in a certain group that are just starting, or maybe started this summer, and then those that have been with us for about a year, and then those that have been with us for about 2 years and have similar, and you're actually in a cohort. And Kathy, you're in the 3rd year going on the 4th year cohort, just to define. So Michael and I, we're not finished with it yet for this year, still doing that student audit. And we're looking at everyone so that probably Michael, in less than a month, we'll have all the cohorts, we'll have you all in. And then there's this wonderful section that we love, absolutely love, and that's continuing education. So continuing education is my top of the line encouragement also, because that is a key cohort in and of itself. And, lest you think it's important to us. So if we were in a bricks and mortar place, you would be having lunch with your cohort, or maybe having coffee with your cohort, or talking about your courses, etc. Well, our hope and dream, which kind of links into what David was sharing about the spirituality, is that the cohorts would actually get together, because I contend you all are each other's best resources. And so as you're out there and serving the Lord and learning, and head, heart, and hands are being integrated more and more, yes, that's what we want to hear. Those cohorts are safe places where you can talk about, well, do you remember what we learned in Deidre's class? Oh, wow, I can apply that now this way. So anyway, it's just kind of, this is our dream, or part of the hope.
There's 2 other instances of it. It strikes me as one, people who are doing internships,
Yes,
or doing field placements. It would be a great opportunity for them to be together and to exchange ideas, and so that they sort of form an actual cohort. And then people that are working their way through the various modules of learning, for example, this year's projects that have just kind of gone, you can register for one without worrying about it, but you end up seeing the same people over and over again, and hopefully building some community that way. So that's our structure. Let's take a few more questions, and then let's end things at about 8:15 if we could. And we'll be happy to stay with people and answer as many individual questions as you like. But for the benefit of everybody here at the group, we don't want to run much past 8:15. But if there are general questions you'd like answers to, or you feel that we haven't addressed quite sufficiently, we're happy to take those questions tonight. Everybody's questioned out. It's all right.
They saw the end of the road. Now they say, okay, let's go.
Okay. You set a time limit. It's time to go now. Learn-Mir Populi, let me get Wanda's question regarding course history. So what we'll have to do on the courses that have credit, like Becoming the Beloved Community, they will appear on the transcript. We'll physically put them onto the transcript. We're going to keep the transcripts in Populi because that's sort of what that was designed for. Individual program or individual courses in Learn Dash may not appear in the transcript unless they would be needed for, say, a commission on ministry, would be looking for information and wanting to see that you had prayer practices or whatever. So we can do that. We can upload those things, but I think our practice is going to be the courses that do go for credit would go on the transcript. Robin, is that fair enough?
That's right on. Populi will still be your transcript location, and Michael will be taking it from Learn Dash to Populi to make sure it's all accurate. So that's the process that's ahead.
You might wonder why we are moving to this new learning platform, and I'll be real honest. I was shocked when I found out how much Populi costs per student. It's $7 per student per month. So that gets to be a lot of money really, really rapidly for the school. And Learn Dash, of course, has nowhere near those kind of fees. So.
And just a word of caution too, I'll put my faculty hat on for a moment.
Sure.
Whenever we're in these sort of transition times, the faculty sometimes are a little slow. I'm one of them in terms of learning a new platform. So, Michael, I have a question.
Sure.
All my syllabus and assignments and everything are in Populi for the two courses that I'm teaching.
Correct.
They will not be in Learn Dash. Is that
correct?
Okay.
The only thing that will be in Learn Dash will be the registration, so that people can easily get to it from the website, David.
I think that needs to be clarified because people might be looking for that there, and then all of a sudden
they won't find it. Actually, all they'll find is the ability to register there, and then it'll say this course is being taught on Populi. So there's a message to that effect. I guess what I'd say, David, to go back to the scripture reading tonight from the Wisdom of Sirach, you are invited, therefore, to read with goodwill and attention and to be forgiving in cases where we seem less than perfect. And that's us. And so I want to thank you all for being part of this session tonight. As I said, we'll stay on just as long as you have questions, and we'll try to answer them. Robin, would you like to end us with just a little bit of a blessing? And I'll do the dismissal because that's what deacons do.
That's what deacons do. I think, Dina, did you want to share something
sorry.
tonight? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's fine. You want me to say it, Robin?
If you want to, it's up to you.
No, that's fine. Robin had mentioned to me a while ago about possibly naming the chairs of the Anglican Studies program, just in the hope of providing financing for them. Is that an accurate term, Robin?
It's a pledge to hold the course is really what it is.
Right.
And Dina did that for 5 years for Anglican ethics, which we are so happy to announce. And you'll be learning more about that. And that is just a very important part of how the Stevenson School for Ministry is a collaborative effort, both through grants, through the Diocese of Central PA, and also the contributions from every student that participates and takes a course with us. So And thanks to Dina, what we're trying to do is hold tight all the Anglican Studies courses, especially as they are interrelated with Lancaster Theological Seminary as well. So we appreciate, as Michael pointed to that little donation button, but look at Friends of the Stevenson School page as well for more updates and information. With that, how about if we close in prayer? Michael, you do the dismissal. And as Michael said, we will stay on as long as you need us. And if you have any other questions, and don't hesitate to contact us either. So with that, the Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pray. God of grace, we give so much thanks for the gift of your love, for the opportunities we have to serve, the opportunities that we have to stay connected one to another, as you so guide our hearts and minds in our baptismal calls, so that together we are one in service to you. We ask that you continue to shower your blessings upon the Stevenson School for Ministry, for all the staff, the faculty, and the students. For, dear Lord, you have given us a gift in which we can pass faith generation to generation, a gift that has allowed us to be creative, adaptable, and transformative. And as we go our separate ways this evening, and as we continue on our journeys, discerning the many ways that you call us to serve, we invite you to keep us in the spirit of the Beatitudes, joyful, peaceful, and merciful, all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Numerous and wonderful things have been given to us through the law, the prophets, and the other writings that followed them. Therefore, let us go forth into the world rejoicing in the power of the Spirit. Alleluia, alleluia.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
I knew I could get some. Thank you all for being with us tonight. And we'll stay.
Thank you, Michael.
So
thank you,
take care,
Robin.
y'all.
Thank you, David. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Michael, this is
Sure.
Linda. I
Hi, Linda.
shared in the thing. I led my first church service last Sunday, and that's because I've been connected to the School of Ministry. So I really appreciate the fact that you are all there. I started with you in 2018. So
Right.
it took me a while to get
Beautiful.
there, but I
That's
really
all right. That's
Thank
what
you
we're
so
here
much.
for.
Thank
Honest
you.
to gosh, thanks. That warms my heart. Thank you.
Well, we have
Linda.
to celebrate these things.
Absolutely. You
That's
betcha.
right.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
I have a quick question. What's your minimum
Absolutely.
number for a class? Is it
5?
5?
Five.
Because
Mhm.
here, just a thought for you, because I've been taking these classes since last year for something to do. So I'm one of these continuing education people. I mean, I'm new to the Episcopal Church. I'm new to really going to church, and I wanted to learn more. And having PhDs teach these things is what I wanted. And so I've audited these. But just a thought for you: if you have classes where you have 3 people and you need 2 more, I don't know how you do it tactfully or even bluntly saying, hey, we need 2 more people. You might get people like me that would say, oh, I'll take that class, just
Sure, I'll
if
take
it
that.
helps out
Yeah.
those that need it for holy orders, so they stay on track. But that's something I think to think of.
That's a
because I'm
great
actually
idea.
I'm repeating what I took last fall, and for the simple reason that Colin has changed his Hebrew class a little bit and focusing on Genesis. We didn't do that last year. And he's teaching the Old Testament class where I had Kaylee last year. So I just wanted to get a different perspective, since his PhD is from Emory and her PhD was from Princeton Theological Seminar. I figured I would get a different perspective of the Hebrew scriptures, that way. But again, for something to do. But I just throw that out there, that there are those that are just taking this because I had nothing else to do during the pandemic because all the theaters and recitals shut down. So I now own 3 study Bibles and
There you go. Kurt, thank you. That is just such a great
So-
idea, though. We really do need to do that.
but
before we-
that's something that I think that
Yep.
you might find people that would be willing to audit a class and
Mhm.
sign up for it and contribute in a meaningful way that
Mhm.
that otherwise wouldn't have thought about taking one of the preaching classes or one of the theology classes that
Right.
otherwise wouldn't have done that. So just
Thank
a
you
thought.
so much. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Once
All
again,
right.
very informative.
Take-
Have a good
Take
have a
care.
good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
Take care.